This meeting is being recorded.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the AI podcast, where we explore technologies, founders, and innovators reshaping the future of the work. Today, we are diving into one of the most rapidly evolving space, AI-powered recruitment. And joining me is someone right at the center of the transformation, Dan Roberts, principal software engineer at Atlas, the first recruitment platform built after the rise of uh, generative AI. Atlas is rethinking the entire recruiter workflow from intake to uh, sourcing to interviewing using a fully AI native approach that promises to eliminate low value tasks and dramatically increase productivity. Dan, it's great to have you here.
Happy to be here.
Thank you very much. So Dan, before we get into deeper technical and strategic layers of Atlas, I would love to start with your perspective. You have been building the intersections of software engineering, AI, and recruitment technology. So let's begin here with your perspective.
That's that's a broad question. I would say in my probably last 10 plus years at various companies, my focus has been on search, helping people find things. I've always said that I like this for two reasons. On the one side, it can be high traffic and high data, and that's kind of exciting in a geeky way. And on the other side, it's about user happiness. Now, I realize that that's an exaggeration, really. I see my job as trying not to make people miserable, because a bad search can upset you. I know I'm not really going to delight people every single day, but it can affect your productivity. The core of nearly every software tends to be search. And what we're doing with Atlas is just a particularly exciting evolution of that.
Okay. So speaking of evolution, let's start the first question with vision and origin story. Atlas is described as the first recruitment platform built after the rise of generative AI. What was the original insight or pain point that convinced the team this needed to be built from scratch rather than retrofitted into existing ATS system?
Well, I should probably preface this by saying I've been with Atlas for 4 months, pushing 5 months now. The company's only 2 years old, so I'm practically a veteran now. But I was brought on to implement one particular part of the product, which I'm sure we'll talk about later. But it means that my view, I wasn't there right at the beginning. So there's things I've picked up, there's observations I've made. So this will be kind of a retelling, a reimagining of the true decision and pain point or not. Is it important? No, I don't think so. Turning a ship is hard. I've found this myself many times, many companies. Organizational momentum tends to be the greatest barrier to change. It's not technical. Much as you'll hear people say, oh, this code needs to be rewritten, this needs to be replaced. If you commit to that, it can be done. But if there isn't commitment from the top down, you are fighting a losing battle. And I've certainly worked at companies before who have made short-term commitments or maybe paid lip service to, oh, this is going to change the face of the industry. And they will commit enough time to do some work that makes it look like the product does fancy new thing A, but it's on the surface, really. It's not a game changer. Okay. So the difference here is that it's committed from the start that we're going to bake in and we're going to build on top of these new technologies. We're not going to try and slot in generative AI on the side. We're not going to try and layer in a bit of AI search somewhere. We're going to commit to this principle that we want Atlas to be your, and by you, our customers are recruiters. So they are working in recruitment agencies, trying to fit people into roles. So their customers are other companies who have roles to fill, and they have relationships with candidates and potential candidates. So Atlas wants to be you the recruiter, your memory of everything that you see, hear, write, whether it's an email exchange with someone, a WhatsApp conversation with a candidate, a LinkedIn conversation. When you have an interview with a hiring manager or with a candidate, there's a note taker which takes transcripts. And afterwards, we then sort of extract interesting questions. So there's the summaries as well as the raw data. And we do that with phone calls. And we've got this app now where you can even do that in person. You meet someone in person, you get all the joy of real eye-to-eye contact over the table, but you don't have to furiously scribble notes as you do it. And everything is built around building this pool of data and then making use of it. And I think that the sort of the catchline, the tagline for Atlas is really clever. It is simple: do business, not admin. And what this means is all that time you spend as a recruiter writing notes about contacts or writing up your email conversations or writing up your interview transcripts is time wasted, really. It's something that humans can do, but it's not something that only humans can do.
Right.
A good recruiter at the moment kind of has to have the memory of an elephant and think, oh, who was it I spoke to 6 months ago that knows Elasticsearch in and out, and I just placed them and I know that maybe that, so you have to have that, and you have to have this understanding of the technology and the businesses you work with sufficient to place these roles. And you have to have, the personality, the personability to go with it. And that's a big skill set. So what if we could take people who don't have the memory of an elephant and who don't like spending their time writing notes about meetings, and we just take those parts and automate them. So you still do the bit that you as a human are amazing at and that, frankly, AI is not amazing at. But we allow you to do more of it.
Absolutely. Sounds great. So the next question with regards to AI Copilot and Perfect Recall, I think it's a continuation of what you were just talking about. The AI Copilot with Perfect Recall is a bold differentiator. Can you walk us through how it actually works behind the scenes and what kinds of recruiter tasks it completely eliminates?
I can, but I'm afraid it's not actually that exciting, technically. It's one of those things where quite boring, they're now quite boring. These LLMs were not something that were affordable and freely available 5 years ago. Absolutely. But now they are, and they've been around so long that they're almost boring. And essentially what we do is we gather all the information about a potential candidate and we load that in as context. So you can say to it, I'm about to go and meet the hiring manager for company A to talk about this candidate reaching stage 2 of the interview process. Remind me what I need to know. And it will look through all your conversations and all your contacts. And it streamlines that preparation step. It just brings everything to the surface for you, which again is just like it's menial work normally. And if you leave it to the last moment and you have to do it manually, you're like, oh no, I hope I can just style my way through this. So it really reduces the preparation time from boring, dull tasks. But it's in such a way that some of the feedback we get, people love this feature because they're like, I don't know, how did I do my job without it? I feel like I've got a personal assistant giving me everything that I need. But one of the things I do want to touch on about LLMs and ChatGPT, big boring technology, is that there's this very reasonable criticism of how can you trust it, and hallucinations and things like that. I think the simple answer is that when an LLM has the answer to your question, it's generally good at serving you an answer. When it doesn't, it goes off-piste and all bets are off. And I've worked at a company before where we wanted to have this public product to layer on search like this. And we had this sort of dilemma. Do we only answer questions that we can answer with our beautiful gold standard data, or do we allow the LLM to fill in the gaps?
Right.
And if we do let it fill in the gaps, how do we make sure it's doing a reasonable job of filling in the gaps? And it's actually quite hard to find that nice middle ground. But we're quite fortunate in that we just gather all the data, and that data is useful. And we're able to say, here is the answer, or we just give up and say, we don't have the answer, because that's better than telling you lies to go and talk to a hiring manager about someone.
Sounds great. I appreciate digging into that. So your site mentions that Atlas can help the recruiter generate up to 50% more revenue. What specific workflow changes or automation drives that level of impact?
I think here's a different way of framing that, because whenever I see numbers like that, as you know, a member of the public, I see on the website, I'm like, where are you getting this from? So I like to think of it, instead of we're giving you 50% more revenue. Right. Another way to look at that would be, if I've got the maths right, if we were able to take a third of your time that you have to spend on tasks that we can automate and automate them, suddenly you're 3/3 of a day. You've only got 2/3 of actual exciting human work. So 50% again, fill up that third. That's your 50%. So if we can take a couple of hours of just that rote task work a day, then you can say that there's 50% more time, which hopefully leads to 50% more productivity and hopefully 50% more revenue. Maybe it's more when you can really concentrate and focus on what you're doing. So there aren't a lot of workflows that I particularly like to call out, but I guess there are a few that are interesting. We have something called the Chrome extension, which is an extension for the Chrome browser. It's very imaginatively named. Right. And it's one way to get data into Atlas without being in Atlas. Right. So you can be if you're on a LinkedIn website and you have the Chrome extension open in your Chrome window, you can just ingest the content of the person you're looking at, and it will bring in all of their CV, all of their job history. And when it does this, it will, for any company that's already in the system, it will do all the clever relational data connecting. And if the company is not in the system, it will go off to third-party APIs that we pay for, and it will enrich that data, and it will tell you how big is that company and who maybe is the hiring manager for that company. So in one click, you're sort of getting this data into Atlas, but not just the data you see. You then have a direct call to action, like, if we've got someone to fill this, here's the person out of that company that we would talk to. And we do that with candidates, and we do it with jobs. So you can import a job from any page. It doesn't even have to be a LinkedIn page. It could be any careers page. So it's about just making it really easy and seamless to kind of pull things into the system. Right. And we do a lot of this enrichment where, it gets some bare data and then just plump it out so that when you come to it, all of the information, hopefully, that you need is there. And again, that's just manual labor, sort of pushed aside. One of the things that I think is very interesting at the moment is we've got this feature called Opportunities, which is intended to make the business development effort easier. Now, I'll have to explain this because I keep forgetting what BD stands for. That's why I have to keep saying business development. Business development is when recruiters are not just talking to candidates and they've already got a role, they want to talk to candidates to fill it. It's when they're trying to get more business. They're trying to find other companies who want to hire the recruitment agency to fill a role for them. So it's essentially it's looking for potential clients.
Yeah, probably it fits into my next question, which is market
Oh,
positioning, right? So
yes.
recruitment team is crowded, or recruitment tech is crowded with ATS, CRM, source tools, and automation platforms, right? So how does Atlas uh, position itself against legacy platforms like Bullhorn or Mercury or Gem? And what makes Atlas fundamentally different?
Well, I think everything I've spoken about with the technical direction
Exactly.
is right really important. And for the old guard to compete, they have this ship turning conundrum. How do we change direction? So that is a really important part. But also, I love seeing the relationship that we have with a lot of our customers. Our founder Jordan is very vocal, very entertaining on LinkedIn. I mean, if we have time at the end of this call, I might tell the story about how I got the job here,
Right.
and really it was just enjoying Jordan's posts and getting in touch to tell him I wasn't fishing for a job. I was like, afterwards I thought that's excellent marketing, Jordan. That's excellent sneaky recruitering.
Right.
Well, no, they've got this great relationship with our customers, and we've got a product. The product I was brought on to produce is something called Magic Search,
Mm-hmm.
which is going to sort of bring everything together even more so.
Right.
All of our data sources together, so you can literally just ramble into your computer. I need a software engineer who knows Python and Elasticsearch and who probably lives in London, but anywhere in UK would be fine. Probably staff level, 10 years experience, and just talk into the mic, and it will turn that into a search, and then it will go through everything we've got. Did a candidate show their experience of building a team, taking a product from 0 to 1? Was that in some interview transcript that we where we spoke to them about it? We'll get all of these data sources together and craft you this beautiful set of candidates. But really importantly, and this comes back to a little bit the concern about hallucination and can we trust the machines? For each candidate, we show each requirement that you search for, and we give you a little summary of why the evidence we found shows that they fulfill that requirement. But then we always link that back to the original evidence.
Mm-hmm.
So if there's a little snippet of an interview which we think illustrates this, we'll show you that. And if you want to link back into the original interview transcript, you can. So there's this full kind of traceability and accountability through the system. And I think that something like this is only possible for us to build on top of the groundwork of the system that's already there, the system that's already committed itself to these technologies. It might be, once we've proven it, maybe it will be interesting to see how the market responds. We're very excited about this product. It's in alpha at the moment.
Right.
The reason that got me onto this topic is that to get onto the alpha list, we said, share on LinkedIn what your favorite thing about Atlas is. Give us a little video,
Right.
and tell us what it is that makes a difference
Right.
to you. And I really enjoyed that simple outreach. You're excited to see the alpha. You do something for us.
Right.
But then on the other hand, a couple of weeks ago, Jordan said, I'm going to flip the script and say, right, everybody, tell me what you hate about Atlas.
Mm-hmm.
We know you love a lot of things, and we really try to make these things, but we know things need work. Help us work out which parts need the work the most. And I was like, that's refreshing as well. Admitting the imperfections, but then encouraging in a public forum, tell us about it. And I think that's a really crucial, part of the relationship that we have with customers. And that's a crucial part of our place in the market.
Yeah. Speaking of the customer profile and use cases, who is the ideal customer for Atlas today? Are you seeing a stronger adoption among boutique agencies, mid-sized firms, or enterprise teams?
I would say that a lot of it is mid-size, and I like that term boutique firm. It sounds like it's someone owns a beautiful hotel that you go into. But we are, enterprise sales is a whole different kettle of fish. But it's a direction that we intend to expand into at some point. And a feature that we've been adding recently, dashboards and easily customized, easily creatable dashboards. That's something that's just table stakes for enterprise, where it's not just I'm one of 5 recruiters here and we're dealing with what we're doing. It's how is that recruitment team doing? And I need to be able to see those numbers right in front of me. Right. So we're primarily mid-sized at the moment, but looking in both directions, certainly.
Sounds great. So in interest of time and the number of questions remain, let's keep the answering questions a little bit shorter so that we have enough time to finish them all. If not, we'll skip maybe the last couple.
Of course.
With regards to the technical architect, since Atlas was built AI first rather than AI added, what architectural decisions did you make early that give you an advantage over older platforms?
Well, we want to keep the question short, so I think this would be one with a short answer. We use OpenAI and maybe other services for our AI needs. So there isn't any hardware architectural unusual requirements over here. And other than making sure that all of our AI costs are really fully integrated, so we don't just have code that sends a prompt and does a thing, and we don't know what task that was associated to or how much it costs. We want to be able to see when we do this process for a user and it does all these different things, we want to tie together all those costs so we know how much features are costing us and whether they're effective. So other than making sure that we had real clear visibility and metrics about costs of these things, I don't think there's anything very exciting on that front. All technology uses other services, third-party APIs. It's the same.
Sounds great. Challenges and limitations. With regards to that, every AI native platform faces challenges, right? So data quality, hallucination, user trust, or integration complexity, some of which you have already touched upon. What have been the biggest technical or adoption challenges so far?
I think there's another benefit to being a company with a newer mindset is that we can be less risk averse and we're not worried about perfection. We're worried about it being good enough still really impressive. But we're not looking for that last 99.9% of perfection because we always show users where the data's come from. You can always trace it back. So if we make a mistake, that's okay. That's a kind of mindset change, which I think is a much greater challenge if you don't already have that. Big companies and more established companies are very, very risk averse. I'm sure that's a gross generalization, but I found it to be true. They're much more risk averse than loss averse. They'd rather spend a load of money on telling a story about how they didn't do the wrong thing than risk doing 5 things, 3 of which might fail, but 2 of which might be useful successes. So that's almost been a non-challenge for us, not worrying about that. But I think it could be interesting for other people, for other companies to adapt to. So if you've got good data and if you've got good traceability, you give this accountability to your users, I think that gets you a really long way. And so there hasn't been any huge hurdle.
Great. So with regards to roadmap and future vision, looking ahead 12 to 24 months, what are the major innovations or capabilities you are most excited about bringing into the platform?
This is kind of a wild question, the idea of 12 to 24 months when the company's only 24 months old. So I'm kind of going to answer a different question. What's on our roadmap for the next 3 months?
Great.
Um,
You guys are agile.
Magic, yeah, and yeah, yes, absolutely. I'm not saying we follow all the rituals. We are literally agile. We are nimble. We are not restrained.
Yep.
Um, so Magic Search is a big deal. Customers are excited about it. We're excited about it, and it's in this alpha phase. We hope by March it's going to be on the cusp of graduating. Got a few more features to get in there, a bit more, reliability, the sorts of things that you iron out in the alpha phase. That's going to be a big deal. Elsewhere in the company, we have been knowingly taking on technical debt, both in how the code is written and in how the UX is kind of we've added, and it's started to be a bit less beautiful and consistent than it used to be. And I think technical debt is a great thing when you take it on consciously and you know that you've got to pay it back. This is the point at which we say it's time to start paying that back. So this quarter, there are going to be improvements to how code can get turned around internally. So that's a improvement for us. But there's going to be improvements to how things get developed, and there'll be fewer rough edges and surprises. That's a benefit for us and for our customers. And we're going to have a kind of I'm thinking of it as quite a ruthless UX overhaul. I don't think we actually need a ruthless UX overhaul. We need things to just go from looking a little bit engineer designed, which is being really harsh to our designers. We've got great designers, and they've done wonderful designs, but we've just slowly evolved them. We've just slowly ruined them over time. So we need them to bring their expertise and tell us how to make it good again. Because I always think it's miraculous that what seem like slight changes can change something from looking like, oh, to looking like, ooh. It's like a cognitive load just disappears with a good design. So we're paying back some of the debt that we owe, and we want to make an API to access our data. This has been an important thing on our roadmap, so that our customers can interact with that with different tools. Maybe there's some exciting AI agents on top of AI potential going on. But yeah, next few months, paying back some of what we owe, Magic Search, big deal, APIs.
Interesting. So next question, recruitment is one of the industries most impacted by AI. How do you see the recruiter role evolving over the next 3 to 5 years as AI becomes embedded in every workflow?
Well, I hope it's not going to come as a surprise when I say I'm sort of more excited about what's not changing.
Right.
It's like, what do recruiters do who good human recruiters are really good at?
Right.
And can we help them do more of that?
Right.
So there's no concept for us of, oh, we won't need recruiters, AI will do it. No, that's not the thing. And contact with people is so important. You don't just want automated, hi, Dan, I've seen your LinkedIn profile. I have show excerpt from LinkedIn profile. Do you want a job? No more details. It doesn't work. So it's all about, I like to think of it as scaling humans, because I worked at a company previously where I sort of got into a bit of a discussion with someone once who said, the problem is we depend on these people and you can't scale humans. And I said, well, you can. There's a lot of what they do, which is like rubbish work. Let's make it easy for them and let them do the bright creative side. Let's scale the humans. That's what I think we're going to do. We're going to scale humans. We're going to allow you to get more done than you did before.
Absolutely.
Unless you want to stay using the old products and keep doing it all yourself, be miserable.
Final question. We're at the end of all the questions. At Atlas, as Atlas grows, what does your scaling strategy look like, both from a product standpoint and a market expansion standpoint?
Well, I think we've got a lot of runway in expanding our customer base because we've, I think we've sort of lent in particularly to people who are going to have a good relationship with us and help us develop the product and be communicative with us. It doesn't mean we only want those customers, but I think there's kind of been a leaning that way of doing so. And there's a strategy to not be overloaded with salespeople. We want our sales staff to do a really good and really effective job, but we want them to be really effective. We don't just want to throw people at it and make it a numbers game. We do a similar thing with our support staff, actually, where we've got a crazy statistic, which is that I think 80% of support contacts with the site get answered to the user's satisfaction using our chatbot, which as a normal person, as a user of chatbots on other websites, is astonishing to me because they're nearly always appalling. There's no technical secret to it. It's an intentional drive on our support team side to document everything that they discover, everything that they fix, and all of that goes into the system so the chatbot has the answers. We come back to this. If you've got the data, you can answer things well. So they invest a lot of time in preparing that information to give a good experience. But it means our support team is quite small. So if we wanted to just turn things up to 11, we can get more people on both of those teams. We can also pursue the contract work market, which is a bit of a different beast. There's a lot of similarities, there's a lot of differences. And pushing harder on those enterprise sales, preparing these features that enterprises will need is great. But enterprise sales is a commitment. This is a long process with every company that you talk to, but the payout can be huge. So there are lots of ways for us to fan out without, we're not short of ways to expand, is what I'm saying.
Great. Dan, this has been an outstanding conversation, hearing how Atlas is redefining the recruitment workflow with an AI native foundation that is not retrofitting old system, but truly rebuilding the experience for modern recruiters. Gives us a powerful look at where this industry is headed. Your insight into technical decisions, the challenges you're solving, and opportunities ahead really highlights why Atlas is resonating so strongly with agencies looking